The morning started like any other Tuesday until the sky above Earth filled with alien ships. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching through the massive viewing window as hundreds of crystalline vessels appeared from nowhere. Each ship was 3 times the size of humanity's largest warship, their surfaces gleaming like polished diamonds in the sunlight. "How many?" Jake asked his communications officer, Lieutenant Karen Brooks. 812 confirmed. "Contacts, sir," Karen replied, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. "More are still appearing." Jake had commanded Earth's defense fleet for 15 years. He had prepared for this day, knowing that eventually humanity would encounter hostile alien life. But seeing it happen made his stomach drop. Earth's entire fleet consisted of 43 ships, and even their newest vessels looked like toys compared to these massive alien craft. A transmission came through on all frequencies. The main screen flickered to life, showing a creature that looked like a giant insect walking upright. It stood nearly 10 feet tall with 4 arms and compound eyes that reflected light like black mirrors. Its voice was translated by the ship's computer, but the tone remained cold and commanding. "I am High Commander Zelthax of the Vorthak Empire, speaking for the Galactic Hegemony," the creature announced. "Your species has been evaluated and found suitable for integration into our workforce. You have 72 hours to surrender all military assets, disband your governments, and prepare for processing into labor colonies." Jake felt his hands clench into fists. The alien continued speaking as if discussing the weather. "Any resistance will result in the complete sterilization of your planet. We have conquered 400 worlds using these same terms. All chose submission over extinction. You will make the same choice." The transmission ended, leaving Jake staring at a blank screen. Around the bridge, his officers waited for orders. These were good people who had dedicated their lives to protecting Earth, and now they faced an impossible situation. "Get me President Harper," Jake ordered. "Emergency priority." Within minutes, President Lisa Harper appeared on the secure channel. She looked tired, as if she had aged 10 years in the past hour. Behind her, Jake could see the chaos of the White House Situation Room, with advisors rushing back and forth with reports. "Admiral Morrison," she said, "tell me you have some good news." "I wish I did, Madam President. We're completely outgunned. Our best estimates suggest they could destroy our entire fleet without losing a single ship." Lisa rubbed her forehead. "The Global Defense Council is meeting in 30 minutes. Every nation's military leaders are saying the same thing. We can't win a conventional fight." Jake understood the horrible math. Even if humanity's 43 ships fought perfectly, even if they managed to destroy 10 alien vessels for every human ship lost, they would still face over 400 enemy craft, and that assumed the aliens would just sit still and let themselves be destroyed, which seemed unlikely. "There might be another option," came a voice from behind the president. Jake saw a woman in military uniform step into view. She wore the stars of a general, but Jake didn't recognize her. The woman had gray hair and hard eyes that seemed to have seen too much. "This is General Patricia Stone," Lisa said. "She runs some of our more classified projects." Patricia stepped closer to the camera. "Admiral Morrison, I need to ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly. How far are you willing to go to protect Earth?" "As far as necessary, General. Even if it means using weapons and tactics that might horrify our own people." Jake thought about his daughter playing in their backyard that morning, completely unaware that alien ships now filled the sky above her home. He thought about all the children on Earth who deserved a chance to grow up free. "Yes, General. Whatever it takes." Patricia nodded slowly. "Then we need to talk. There are things about Earth's defenses that even you don't know about. Meet me at Section 7 in 2 hours. Come alone and tell no one where you're going." The transmission ended, leaving Jake with more questions than answers. Section 7 was a name he had heard whispered in military circles, but he had never been sure it really existed. It was supposedly a black project division that handled things too dangerous for normal military oversight. 2 hours later, Jake found himself in an unmarked car driving through the Virginia countryside. The GPS led him to what looked like an abandoned farm, but his security clearance got him through 3 hidden checkpoints. Finally, he arrived at an elevator disguised as an old barn. The elevator went down much farther than seemed possible. When the doors opened, Jake stepped into a control room that looked like something from a science fiction movie. Dozens of technicians worked at advanced computers, and the main screen showed a star map with thousands of moving dots. "Welcome to the Real Earth Defense Command," Patricia said, walking up behind him. Jake stared at the screen. "What am I looking at?" "Each dot represents one of our ships. The ones near Earth are just for show. The real fleet has been hiding in the outer solar system for 50 years. That's impossible. We only have 43 ships." Patricia smiled, but it wasn't a pleasant expression. "We have 43 ships that the public knows about. We have over 2,000 ships that we pray we never have to use." A man in a naval captain's uniform approached them. He looked to be in his 40s, with the kind of scars that came from real combat. "Admiral Morrison, meet Captain Alex Rodriguez. He commands our Black Fleet operations." Alex shook Jake's hand. "Admiral, what I'm about to tell you will change how you see humanity forever. For 50 years we've been preparing for this day. While the regular military built ships for exploration and peacekeeping, we built ships for war, real war, the kind that would make our ancestors proud and our enemies terrified." Jake looked around the room again, seeing the technicians and officers with new eyes. "How many people know about this?" "Maybe 200 in total," Patricia replied. "Everyone here volunteered, and everyone here understands what we're really fighting for. Not just Earth's freedom, but the right to exist as humans instead of slaves." The main screen changed, showing detailed images of alien ships. Alex pointed to various weak points that had been identified. "The aliens think they know us," Alex said. "They've studied our public military, our visible defenses, our political systems. They think we're just another primitive species that will see reason and surrender. They don't know that humans have been planning for this war since we first looked up at the stars," Patricia added. "They don't know that when we were building colonies on Mars, we were also building shipyards in the asteroid belt. They don't know that every human child who dreamed of space wasn't just dreaming of exploration." Jake felt something change inside him as he began to understand the scope of what he was seeing. "What exactly are we planning to do?" Alex smiled, and Jake saw something predatory in his expression. "We're going to give them exactly what they asked for. They want to see Earth kneel. Instead, we're going to show them why the galaxy should kneel to us." Captain Ryan Hayes floated in the zero gravity of the command center aboard UES Vengeance, watching his crew prepare for humanity's darkest hour. His ship was massive, larger than anything in Earth's public fleet, and it was just one of over 2,000 vessels hidden throughout the solar system. The Vengeance looked nothing like the clean white ships that protected Earth's trade routes. Its hull was pure black, designed to absorb sensor sweeps and blend into the darkness of space. Every surface had been crafted for one purpose: to strike fear into anyone who saw it coming. "Captain," called Lieutenant Commander Maria Santos from her station, "we're receiving the activation codes from command." Ryan pulled himself over to the main console. After 50 years of waiting, the Black Armada was finally being called to action. Around him, his crew moved with practiced efficiency. These weren't regular military personnel. Every person on his ship had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might never return to Earth, knowing that what they were about to do would change humanity forever. "Signal all ships in our battle group," Ryan ordered. "Operation Dark Mirror is now active." 3 sectors away, Commander Alex Rodriguez was briefing Admiral Morrison on the true scope of humanity's preparations. The hidden command center buzzed with activity as technicians brought system after system online. "The aliens made one critical mistake," Alex explained, pointing to the tactical display. "They announced their arrival. Every species they've conquered before rolled over immediately or fought a token resistance. They've never faced an enemy that had time to prepare." Jake studied the display showing alien ship positions. The creatures had arranged their fleet in standard formation, following what appeared to be established galactic military doctrine. "They're not even trying to hide their tactics." "Why would they?" Patricia said, joining the conversation. "From their perspective, they're dealing with primitives. Their intelligence reports probably show them exactly what we wanted them to see: A small fleet, panicked governments, and a population that doesn't understand the threat. Alex activated another screen. While they were announcing their demands, our ships were already moving into position. The enemy thinks they're surrounding a helpless planet. Actually, they're sitting in the middle of the largest ambush in human history. Jake watched as the display showed the true positions of human forces. Black dots representing hidden ships surrounded the alien fleet from every direction. The aliens had positioned themselves perfectly for what they thought would be an easy occupation. Instead, they had walked into a trap 50 years in the making. Dr. Maria Santos, the chief architect of the Black Armada project, appeared on screen from her laboratory deep beneath the Pentagon. She was a small woman with tired eyes, but her voice carried the weight of absolute certainty. Admiral Morrison, what you're about to see represents humanity's greatest achievement and our greatest shame, she began. We've spent half a century developing weapons that violate every rule of civilized warfare. Chemical weapons designed to eat through alien hull materials. Biological agents that target non-human DNA. Nuclear devices that create radiation signatures, specifically harmful to the species now threatening us. Jake felt his stomach turn. Chemical and biological weapons are banned by international treaty. Those treaties apply to warfare between humans, Patricia replied coldly. These aliens aren't human. They've given us a choice. Surrender as a species or fight with everything we have. We choose to fight. On the screen, Dr. Santos continued her briefing. The Black Armada ships carry no medical facilities, no diplomats, no peacekeeping equipment. They carry only weapons and the people, trained to use them. Every captain knows that mercy might mean the death of billions of humans. Alex pulled up another display showing the interior of a Black Armada vessel. The corridors were narrow and efficient, designed for combat rather than comfort. The crew quarters were small and functional. Everything about these ships screamed that they were built for one purpose: war without limits. Captain Hayes commands our flagship, but every ship in the fleet operates under the same principle, Alex explained. Win at any cost, survive at any price, protect Earth by making sure our enemies never forget what happens when they threaten humanity. Jake watched as more reports came in from scout ships. The aliens continued to follow predictable patterns, moving their vessels into standard occupation formations. They showed no signs of detecting the thousands of human ships hiding in the dark spaces between planets. How do we know our weapons will work against their technology? Jake asked. Patricia smiled grimly. We've been studying alien visitors for decades. Every probe that entered our solar system, every long-range scout that thought they went undetected. We've analyzed their hull materials, their energy signatures, their biological makeup. We know exactly how to kill them. The main screen changed to show Captain Hayes addressing his crew aboard the Vengeance. The captain looked calm and determined, like a man who had accepted his fate long ago. Listen up, Hayes told his people. In 6 hours, we're going to do something that will change human history forever. We're going to show these aliens that threatening Earth was the worst mistake they could have made. We're not just fighting for our lives. We're fighting to make sure that no alien species ever again considers humanity an easy target. Around the command center, Jake watched technicians and officers preparing for battle. These people had dedicated their entire careers to a war they hoped would never happen. Now that it was here, they moved with the precision of a machine built for destruction. The regular fleet will play their part too, Alex explained. They'll put up a brave fight, make the aliens think they're facing conventional resistance. While the enemy is focused on destroying our visible ships, the Black Armada will strike from the shadows. Jake thought about his own crew, preparing to sacrifice themselves in what they believed was humanity's last stand. My people don't know about this. They think they're going to die fighting an impossible battle. Their sacrifice will save billions of lives, Patricia replied. And when this is over, they'll learn that their courage helped humanity win the greatest victory in our history. The countdown clock showed 5 hours and 32 minutes until the alien ultimatum expired. Across the solar system, over 2,000 Black Armada ships moved into final attack positions. Each vessel carried weapons designed by humanity's darkest imagination, crewed by volunteers who understood that mercy was a luxury Earth could not afford. Jake realized he was witnessing the transformation of his species. In a few hours, humanity would no longer be the peaceful explorers they pretended to be. They would reveal themselves as the apex predators of a death world, evolved through millions of years of survival against impossible odds. "What happens after we win?" Jake asked. Alex and Patricia exchanged glances. "That depends on how completely we win," Patricia said. "If we leave survivors who can tell the galaxy what happened here, other species might try to avenge the hegemony. But if we make sure the story spreads that humans are not to be threatened under any circumstances, then Earth becomes the one planet in the galaxy that everyone is afraid to attack," Alex finished. Jake understood. This battle wasn't just about survival. It was about sending a message to the entire galaxy. Humanity might look peaceful, but they were the children of a world that had tried to kill them for millions of years. And they had not just survived. They had learned to fight back. High Commander Zelthak studied the tactical displays aboard his flagship with satisfaction. The human military response was exactly what his intelligence analysts had predicted. Their pathetic fleet of 43 ships had formed a defensive line around their homeworld, a gesture as noble as it was pointless. "Status report," Zelthax ordered his tactical officer, a tall Zephyrian named Sub-Commander Kix. "All battle groups are in position, High Commander. The humans appear to be preparing for a traditional last stand. Their ships are broadcasting final messages to their families just as the Kepler-7 defenders did before their destruction." Zelthax nodded. In his 300 years of military service, he had overseen the conquest of dozens of worlds. The pattern was always the same. First came the ultimatum, then the desperate defiance, then the swift crushing of resistance, and finally the grateful acceptance of hegemony rule by the survivors. "Any signs of unconventional tactics or hidden assets?" he asked. "Negative, sir. Long-range scans show no ships beyond their publicized fleet. Their military communications are standard emergency protocols. They're even arguing among themselves about whether to surrender or fight, just like primitive species always do." The High Commander allowed himself a moment of contempt. Humans had shown promise as a species, developing faster-than-light travel and basic energy weapons in record time, but they lacked the crucial element that separated civilized races from barbaric ones: the wisdom to recognize superior force when they saw it. On the bridge of his stealth reconnaissance ship, Colonel Sam Turner smiled as he listened to the alien communications his team had intercepted. The enemy was discussing human defenses with the casual confidence of predators who had spotted weak prey. "They think they know everything about us," Turner said to his intelligence officer, Lieutenant Karen Davis. "Let's make sure they keep thinking that." Karen nodded and activated a prepared transmission. Across human networks, carefully crafted messages began broadcasting. Panicked civilian communications, military units requesting impossible reinforcements, government officials arguing about surrender terms. Every word was designed to reinforce the aliens' expectations of a primitive species facing extinction. "Colonel," Karen reported, "our deep cover operatives confirm the aliens are intercepting our fake communications. They're reading exactly what we want them to read." Turner had spent 20 years perfecting the art of deception. His job was to make sure the enemy saw only what served humanity's interests. Right now, that meant appearing helpless and disorganized, while the Black Armada moved into position. President Lisa Harper stood before the Global Defense Council, delivering what appeared to be humanity's surrender. Every word had been carefully chosen to reinforce the aliens' belief that they faced a typical primitive species. "My fellow leaders," she said, her voice carrying just the right amount of defeat, "we must face the reality of our situation. Our military advisors are unanimous. We cannot win against such overwhelming force." Around the table, the leaders of Earth's major nations played their parts perfectly. The Japanese Prime Minister argued for negotiating better terms. The European Federation President suggested evacuating Earth's children to the colonies. The African Union Chairman spoke about preserving human culture under alien rule. All of it was theater, designed for the alien listening devices they knew were monitoring every government facility on Earth. The real decisions had been made in the hidden command center, where Patricia Stone coordinated the final movements of the Black Armada. Captain, Rachel Brooks piloted her reconnaissance vessel through the outer edge of the alien fleet, her ship's hull coated with materials that made it nearly invisible to enemy sensors. Her mission was critical: map every enemy ship, identify command vessels, and locate weak points in their formation. Target analysis complete, she reported to Admiral Morrison over quantum-encrypted channels. The enemy flagship is a massive, crystalline structure at the center of their formation. It's surrounded by 12 heavy cruisers and appears to coordinate all fleet movements. Jake received the report in the hidden command center while watching the final preparations for Operation Dark Mirror. Around him, technicians tracked the positions of over 2,000 human vessels, all hidden in the darkness between worlds. How long until all our ships are in position? He asked Alex Rodriguez. 47 minutes until optimal attack formation, Alex replied. The enemy has no idea what's coming. Their scanners are designed to detect conventional metal hulls and energy signatures. Our stealth technology is based on completely different principles. Patricia Stone joined the conversation from her command station. The Psychological Warfare Division is ready to begin Phase 1. As soon as we attack, we'll flood their communications networks with images and sounds designed to terrorize species that have never faced human warfare. Jake thought about what that meant. Dr. Santos had shown him recordings of the psychological testing, human war cries, images of historical battles, sounds that triggered fear responses in alien nervous systems. It was warfare designed not just to kill, but to break the enemy's will to fight. Meanwhile, High Commander Zelthax was growing impatient with human delays. His species had evolved to be efficient predators, and unnecessary waiting irritated him. Open a channel to the human leadership, he ordered. It's time to end this charade. President Harper appeared on his main screen surrounded by her advisors. She looked tired and defeated, exactly as Zelthax expected. High Commander, she began, we have reached a decision. Humanity accepts your terms of surrender. We ask only for time to organize the transition and ensure civilian safety. Zelthax felt a familiar surge of satisfaction. Another world had seen reason. You have made the wise choice. Prepare to transfer control of all military assets within the next 6 hours. Any delay will be considered an act of rebellion. Understood, Harper replied. We will comply with all demands. The transmission ended, and Zelthax turned to his tactical staff. Begin moving the fleet into occupation positions, standard protocol for a conquered primitive world. What the High Commander didn't realize was that President Harper had just delivered humanity's real ultimatum. Every ship in the Black Armada had received the same coded message. The enemy had taken the bait completely. Captain Ryan Hayes watched the alien fleet begin moving into what they thought were occupation positions. From his perspective aboard the Vengeance, he could see exactly how perfectly the trap was working. The aliens were spreading their ships across a wider area, making them easier targets for coordinated human attacks. All weapon systems green, reported his tactical officer, Commander Lisa Price. Nuclear warheads armed and ready. Chemical weapon dispensers loaded with hull-eating compounds. Kinetic projectiles prepared for maximum impact. Ryan nodded. His ship alone carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon, and it was just one vessel in humanity's hidden fleet. Around the solar system, over 2,000 similar ships waited for the signal to attack. Remember, Ryan told his crew over the ship's communication system, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting to make sure that when this battle is over, no alien species will ever again consider humans an easy target. We're about to show the galaxy what happens when you threaten a species that evolved on a death world. The final countdown began. In 30 minutes, the hegemony fleet would learn that their intelligence about humanity was completely wrong. They would discover that Earth's real defenses had been hidden for 50 years, waiting for exactly this moment. High Commander Zelthax had conquered dozens of worlds, but he had never faced an enemy that had spent half a century preparing for his arrival. He had never encountered a species willing to build weapons so terrible that they kept them secret from their own people. Most importantly, He had never fought humans, and he was about to learn why that had been a very serious mistake. The attack began without warning. One moment, High Commander Zelthax was reviewing occupation protocols, and the next moment his flagship shuddered under impacts that should have been impossible. "Report!" he roared at his tactical officer. Unknown contacts appearing throughout the fleet. Subcommander Kix replied, his voice tight with panic. "They're materializing from nowhere. I count over 2,000 enemy vessels." Zelthax stared at the tactical display as black shapes emerged from the darkness of space. The human ships looked nothing like the white, clean vessels of their public fleet. These were predators built for one purpose, to kill everything in their path. "How did they hide so many ships?" Zelthax demanded. "Unknown, sir. Our sensors show no metal signatures, no energy patterns we recognize. It's as if they built these vessels using completely different technology." Captain Ryan Hayes smiled grimly as the Vengeance powered up its main weapons. Around him, his crew worked with deadly precision, targeting alien ships with weapons that violated every rule of civilized warfare. "Fire all kinetic projectiles," Ryan ordered. The Vengeance launched a swarm of metal slugs moving at 30% of light speed. The projectiles punched through alien shields as if they weren't there, tearing massive holes in crystalline hulls. The aliens had built their defenses to stop energy weapons and conventional missiles, not solid metal moving at relativistic speeds. "Direct hits on targets 7 through 15, reported Commander Lisa Price. "Enemy shields are completely ineffective against kinetic weapons." Ryan nodded. The aliens had made the same mistake as every other species the Black Armada had studied. They had developed clean, efficient weapons and assumed their enemies would do the same. They had never imagined facing beings primitive enough to throw rocks at them, but smart enough to throw those rocks at near light speed. Across the battle zone, similar scenes played out as human ships unleashed hell itself. Commander Alex Rodriguez led a squadron of stealth bombers that appeared directly alongside alien vessels, attached explosive charges to their hulls, and vanished back into the darkness. "Remember," Alex told his pilots over the communication channel, "we're not just destroying ships, we're sending a message. Every alien that survives this battle needs to remember that humans are not to be threatened." The chemical weapons were perhaps the most terrifying aspect of humanity's arsenal. Dr. Santos had designed compounds that specifically targeted the materials used in alien hull construction. As the chemicals spread across enemy ships, their hulls began dissolving like metal in acid. "Hull breach on the enemy flagship," reported Lieutenant Karen Brooks from her position aboard a human destroyer. "The chemical weapons are eating through their armor." High Commander Zelthax watched in horror as his ship's hull began crumbling. Emergency alarms blared throughout the vessel as sections that had withstood centuries of conventional warfare melted away under the assault of human chemicals. "What kind of species uses chemical weapons in space combat?" he gasped. "The kind that evolved on a death world," came a voice over the communication system. Zelthax spun toward the main screen as a human face appeared. The man looked calm and determined, like a predator that had finally cornered its prey. "I am Captain Ryan Hayes of the United Earth ship Vengeance," the human said. "You made a mistake, High Commander. You thought Earth was weak because you only saw what we wanted you to see. You never imagined that a species could hide 2,000 warships and spend 50 years planning for your arrival." "This is impossible," Zelthax protested. "Our intelligence reports showed only 43 human ships." "Your intelligence reports showed exactly what we wanted them to show," Ryan replied. "While you were studying our public fleet, we were studying you. We know how you think, how you fight, how you die, and we've designed our weapons specifically to kill your kind." The psychological warfare began in earnest as human ships flooded alien communication networks with sounds and images designed to terrorize non-human minds. The recordings included human war cries from throughout history, images of Earth's predators in action, and frequencies that triggered panic responses in alien nervous systems. Colonel Sam Turner monitored the effectiveness of the psychological attacks from his intelligence vessel. "The enemy communications are showing signs of complete breakdown," he reported to Admiral Morrison. "Their command structure is collapsing under the assault." Jake watched the battle unfold from the hidden command center, seeing decades of preparation come to deadly fruition. The aliens had expected to fight a primitive species using conventional tactics. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy that had perfected the art of asymmetric warfare. "Status report from all battle groups," Jake ordered. The reports came in one after another. Human ships were devastating the alien fleet using weapons and tactics that no civilized species would consider. Nuclear mines that created radiation, specifically harmful to alien biology. Boarding parties equipped with weapons designed to work in their enemies' atmospheric preferences. Even computer viruses crafted to destroy alien navigation systems. Captain Rachel Brooks led one of the most terrifying human tactics: targeted assassinations of enemy command personnel. Her team used teleportation technology to appear directly on alien ships, eliminate their leadership, and vanish before security could respond. "Target acquired," she reported as her team materialized on the bridge of a Zephyrian cruiser. "Eliminating enemy command structure now." The alien officers never had time to understand what was happening. Human soldiers appeared like ghosts, struck with weapons that killed instantly and disappeared back into the darkness. High Commander Zelthax realized his fleet was being systematically destroyed by an enemy that fought like demons from his species' worst nightmares. The humans used every advantage their Death World evolution had given them: pack hunting tactics, tool use that bordered on creativity, and an absolute refusal to fight fairly. "All ships, retreat to hyperspace coordinates," he ordered desperately. But the humans had anticipated this as well. Captain Hayes smiled as he activated the final phase of humanity's trap. "Hyperspace interdiction fields now active," he announced. "No alien ship leaves this system alive." The devices that prevented faster-than-light travel had been positioned. Throughout the battle zone before the fighting began, the aliens were trapped in a killing field designed by a species that had learned warfare from millions of years of surviving on the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. Dr. Santos watched the battle from her laboratory, seeing her life's work proved in the most terrible way possible. "The biological weapons are now taking effect," she reported to the command center. "Alien crews are experiencing system failures as the engineered viruses attack their DNA. The bioweapons were perhaps the most ruthless aspect of humanity's arsenal. They had been designed to target specific alien genetic markers, causing rapid cellular breakdown in non-human tissue while leaving human DNA completely unaffected." As the battle entered its final phase, the scope of human preparation became clear. This wasn't just a military engagement. It was genocide carried out with scientific precision by a species that had decided long ago that any threat to Earth would be met with absolute annihilation. "Alien fleet strength now at 12%, reported Commander Lisa Price. "Estimate: complete destruction in 47 minutes. Ryan Hayes opened a final communication to the surviving alien ships. "This is what happens when you order Earth to kneel," he said simply. "Remember that, if any of you live long enough to tell the tale." The message was clear. Humanity would not just defeat their enemies. They would ensure that the story of this battle spread throughout the galaxy as a warning to any species that might consider threatening Earth. The humans had spent 50 years preparing not just to win, but to win so completely that no one would ever dare attack them again. High Commander Zelthax, dying from the biological weapons eating away at his cellular structure, finally understood what his species had awakened. Earth wasn't home to a primitive species ready for conquest. It was home to apex predators who had been waiting for someone to give them a reason to show the galaxy exactly what they were capable of. The Black Armada continued its methodical destruction of the hegemony fleet, each human ship a nightmare, made real, each weapon a demonstration of what happened when you threatened the children of a death world. 3 weeks after the battle, the galaxy had changed forever. Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the same command center where he had first learned about the Black Armada, but now the screens showed a very different picture. Instead of hiding in shadows, human ships patrolled openly throughout the solar system and beyond. "Incoming transmission from the Andromedan Council," announced Lieutenant Karen Brooks. "They're requesting permission to approach Earth for diplomatic talks." Jake almost smiled. The Andromedans had been one of the most powerful species in the galaxy before the battle. Now they were asking permission to enter human space. treating Earth like the dangerous predator world it had proven to be. "Tell them they can approach, but only with a single unarmed vessel," Jake replied, "and remind them that any aggressive action will be met with the same response the hegemony received." The news had spread through the galaxy faster than anyone had expected. The complete destruction of 800 hegemony ships had sent shockwaves through every civilization. Species that had never heard of humans suddenly knew their name and feared it. President Lisa Harper was in her third week of constant diplomatic communications. Her office had become the most important location in known space, as dozens of alien species sought to establish friendly relations with the newly revealed human empire. "The Centauri Federation is offering exclusive trading rights," reported her Chief of Staff, Director Kevin Price. "The Vegan Republic wants to establish mutual defense agreements. The Sirius Collective is asking if they can send students to learn human military tactics." Lisa looked tired but satisfied. 3 weeks ago, Earth had been facing extinction. Now they were the most feared and respected species in the galaxy. The transformation had been exactly what General Patricia Stone had planned for 50 years. Captain Ryan Hayes walked through the corridors of the Vengeance, no longer hidden in the darkness of space. His ship now served as flagship of the first human battle fleet, a force that patrolled the trade routes between human colonies and alien worlds. The black hull that had once been designed for stealth now served as a symbol of human power. "Captain," called Commander Lisa Price, "we're receiving reports from the outer colonies. 3 more species have requested permission to establish diplomatic relations. They're all offering significant trade advantages." Ryan nodded. The galaxy was learning that humans could be valuable allies, but only if they were approached with proper respect. The lesson had been written in the wreckage of the hegemony fleet. Threaten Earth and face annihilation, but offer friendship and receive it in return. Dr. Maria Santos had become one of the most famous scientists in galactic history. Though not in the way she had ever wanted, her weapons designs were being studied by military analysts across dozens of worlds, not to copy them, but to understand how to defend against them. "The Rigel Institute is requesting detailed specifications on our biological weapons," she reported to the Defense Council. "They claim it's for defensive research, but I suspect they want to develop countermeasures." "Let them try," General Patricia Stone replied. "Every weapon we used was specifically designed for the species that threatened us. If they want to defend against human warfare, they'll need to understand human psychology, and that's not something you can learn from technical specifications." Patricia had overseen the transformation of human space from a small collection of colonies into the most powerful military force in known galactic history. The Black Armada was no longer secret, and she had become its official commander, a position that made her one of the most influential people in the galaxy. The changes went beyond military power. Human colonies were expanding rapidly, protected by Black Armada vessels that ensured no alien species would interfere with their development. Captain Rachel Brooks commanded the exploration fleets that sought out new worlds for human settlement. "We've identified 12 systems suitable for colonization," she reported during the weekly expansion meeting. "All are unclaimed by existing galactic powers, and our advanced scouts have confirmed no signs of hostile activity." The speed of human expansion surprised even their own leaders. With the protection of the Black Armada, human pioneers could settle new worlds without fear of alien interference. The galaxy had learned that attacking human colonies meant facing the same fate as the hegemony fleet. Commander Alex Rodriguez had been promoted to admiral and now oversaw the training of new Black Armada crews. The fleet was expanding as humanity built new ships using the same dark principles that had proven so effective. "Recruitment is exceeding all projections," he reported to Admiral Morrison. "Young people across human space want to serve aboard the ships that saved Earth. We're having to turn away qualified candidates." The Black Armada had become a symbol of human strength and determination. Service aboard one of the dark ships was considered the highest honor in human space, and veterans of the battle were treated as heroes throughout the colonies. But the most significant changes were happening in galactic politics. The destruction of the hegemony had created a power vacuum that dozens of species were trying to fill, but none dared to challenge human expansion. Earth had become the unofficial capital of a new galactic order based on respect for human authority. The MIU Galactic Council has formally requested human membership, President Harper announced during a televised address to Earth. They're offering us permanent seats on all major committees and veto power over military actions. The irony was not lost on human leadership. 3 weeks earlier, they had faced extinction. Now the same galactic community was begging them to join as equals, offering them the kind of power that species usually had to conquer dozens of worlds to achieve. Jake Morrison found himself in an office that had once belonged to a hegemony intelligence officer, now converted into the headquarters of the Human Galactic Defense Command. Through the windows, he could see construction ships building the first human starbase in what had once been enemy territory. The Psychological Warfare Division reports complete success, Colonel Sam Turner informed him. Stories about the battle are spreading through alien populations faster than their governments can control them. Most species are now teaching their children that humans are not to be threatened under any circumstances. That had been the real goal of the Black Armada's extreme tactics, not just to win a battle, but to win so completely and terrifyingly that no other species would ever consider threatening human space. The plan had worked beyond their wildest expectations. The final report came from Dr. Santos, now director of the Galactic Defense Research Division. Analysis of captured alien. Technology confirms our weapons were more effective than projected. Alien species throughout the galaxy are redesigning their ships and tactics to defend against human-style warfare, but they're fighting the last war. We're already developing new weapons they can't imagine. As Jake looked out at the stars, he realized that humanity had crossed a line they could never uncross. They had revealed themselves not as the peaceful explorers they had pretended to be, but as apex predators who had been hiding their true nature until someone forced their hand. Kitty. Galaxy would never be the same. Every species now knew that somewhere in the darkness between the stars, human ships waited with weapons designed by the darkest imagination of a death world species. The lesson had been learned in fire and blood. Earth would kneel to no one. Captain. Hayes summed it up perfectly in his final report. The hegemony wanted to see humanity surrender. Instead, they taught the galaxy why Earth should never be threatened. The Black Armada stands ready to deliver that lesson to anyone who needs to learn it. Humanity had unleashed the Black Armada, and the galaxy would never forget the price of ordering Earth to kneel.